Welcome to Conspiracy Files, where every week we break down the world's most intriguing conspiracy theories. If you'd like to listen to previous episodes, you can find them on your favorite podcast directory or on our website at theconspiracyfilespodcast.com. Let's dive in. The Holy Grail is one of history's most enduring mysteries and the subject of countless conspiracy theories. For centuries, the Grail has been depicted as a sacred relic with extraordinary powers, capable of granting eternal youth, infinite knowledge, or even direct communion with the divine. While mainstream historians regard the Grail as a symbol or literary device, conspiracy theorists believe it is a real artifact, hidden and protected by powerful groups, shrouded in secrecy to keep its profound potential from the masses. The most common conception of the Grail stems from medieval European legends, which describe it as the chalice used by Jesus Christ during the Last Supper. According to these stories, it was later used to catch Christ's blood during his crucifixion. This interpretation gained prominence with works like Chrétien de Troyes' Percival, The Story of the Grail in the late 12th century, and Wolfram von Eschenbach's Parzival, which added mystical elements to the legend. Conspiracy theorists argue that the Grail is far more than a simple cup. They claim it represents an ancient artifact of immense spiritual or extraterrestrial power. Some connect it to pre-Christian traditions, suggesting it may have originated as a pagan relic or a divine object from lost civilizations. Theorists point to accounts that the Grail has been associated with otherworldly phenomena, such as glowing auras or miraculous healings, as evidence that it is not an ordinary artifact, but something imbued with supernatural energy. Many believe the Grail was hidden to prevent it from falling into the wrong hands. The Knights Templar, a medieval Christian military order, are frequently implicated in theories surrounding the Grail. The Templars were known for their secrecy and rumored possession of vast wealth and powerful relics. After the order's dramatic suppression by the French crown in 1307, conspiracy theories emerged claiming that they had hidden their most valuable treasures, including the Grail, before their downfall. Some believe the Templars transported the Grail to secret locations, possibly in Scotland, France, or even North America. One theory suggests that the Grail is not a physical object at all, but instead a bloodline. This idea gained traction with the publication of books like Holy Blood, Holy Grail in 1982, and later The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. According to this theory, the Grail represents the descendants of Jesus Christ and Mary Magdalene, who supposedly married and bore children. These bloodlines, theorists claim, were protected by secret societies such as the Priory of Sion, with the truth deliberately suppressed by religious and political institutions. Artifacts and symbols associated with the Grail appear throughout history, further fueling these theories. For instance, the enigmatic Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland is believed by some to hold clues to the Grail's location, with its intricate carvings and mysterious symbology linked to Templar traditions. Similarly, Montségur Castle in France, the last stronghold of the Cathars, is often cited as a possible Grail repository, based on their association with heretical and esoteric teachings. To believers, the enduring mystery of the Holy Grail is not mere legend, but a deliberate concealment of one of humanity's greatest secrets. Whether viewed as a sacred chalice, a divine artifact, or the key to a hidden bloodline, the Grail continues to captivate the imagination of those who seek to uncover its secrets. The Holy Grail conspiracy theories extend far beyond the traditional narrative of a physical chalice or a sacred bloodline. Some theorists posit that the Grail is an advanced piece of technology, one that predates recorded history and could hold the key to unimaginable power. This perspective aligns with alternative historical theories that suggest ancient civilizations possessed knowledge and tools far more advanced than conventional history acknowledges. One version of this theory ties the Grail to the Ark of the Covenant, suggesting that both artifacts are not religious relics, but advanced energy devices. The Ark, described in the Bible as a container for the Ten Commandments, is often said to have emitted divine power capable of striking down enemies or leveling walls. Similarly, some theorists believe the Grail might function as a portal to other dimensions, a source of limitless energy, or even a device capable of enhancing human consciousness. This view draws from ancient texts and esoteric traditions that hint at a deeper, hidden layer of knowledge regarding these sacred artifacts. Others suggest the Grail is not a terrestrial object, but one of extraterrestrial origin. This theory stems from the belief that ancient humans were visited by advanced beings, often referred to as ancient astronauts, who gifted humanity with powerful artifacts. Proponents argue that descriptions of the Grail's miraculous properties align with the idea of extraterrestrial technology misunderstood by early civilizations as divine. They point to artistic depictions, such as medieval paintings and carvings, that appear to feature strange, otherworldly symbols and objects, suggesting hidden knowledge of alien contact. Another perspective places the Grail within the realm of alchemy and the quest for spiritual enlightenment. In this view, the Grail represents the culmination of the alchemical process, the Philosopher's Stone, a metaphorical artifact capable of turning base metals into gold and granting eternal life. Conspiracy theorists who support this idea argue that the Grail symbolizes hidden esoteric knowledge, guarded by secret societies such as the Rosicrucians or Freemasons, who are believed to have encoded its secrets in symbols, architecture, and rituals. The link between the Grail and sacred geometry further supports this interpretation. Researchers have noted recurring geometric patterns in sites associated with Grail legends, such as the precise layout of cathedrals like Chartres and Notre Dame. These structures are believed by some to act as energy centers or keys to unlocking the Grail's power. Proponents of this theory point to the deliberate alignments of ancient monuments and their correlation to celestial patterns as evidence of a hidden, interconnected system of knowledge that the Grail is part of. Evidence supporting these theories includes the enigmatic behavior of groups like the Nazi Ahnenerbe during World War II, who actively sought the Grail and other mystical artifacts, believing they would bestow supernatural power. The very fact that such efforts were undertaken lends credibility to the idea that the Grail might represent something more than legend. The enduring secrecy and mystery surrounding its nature and location suggests that those in power, past and present, may have a vested interest in keeping the truth about the Grail hidden from humanity. The connection between the Holy Grail and the enigmatic secret societies of history has long fascinated conspiracy theorists. These groups, shrouded in mystery and imbued with esoteric rituals, are often believed to have been guardians of the Grail's secrets, preserving its location and purpose across centuries. Among the most prominent of these are the Knights Templar, the Freemasons, and the Priory of Sion. Each is said to have played a pivotal role in shaping the legend and ensuring the Grail's hidden status. The Knights Templar are perhaps the most widely recognized in this narrative. Formed during the Crusades to protect pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land, the Templars amassed vast wealth and power. Their rumored discoveries beneath the Temple Mount in Jerusalem sparked speculation that they had unearthed sacred artifacts, including the Holy Grail. After their sudden downfall in 1307, stories of their hidden treasures, including the Grail, began to proliferate. The belief that some Templars survived and continued their secretive work in exile has fueled centuries of speculation. Theorists claim that Templar successors may have encoded Grail clues in Gothic cathedrals or even smuggled it to distant locations, such as Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland. The Freemasons are also frequently implicated in Grail conspiracy theories. Emerging in the 17th and 18th centuries, the Freemasons are known for their secretive rituals and use of symbols linked to ancient wisdom. Many conspiracy theorists argue that the Freemasons inherited the Templars' mission, including the guardianship of the Grail. They point to Masonic architecture, such as Washington, D.C.'s layout and the design of significant landmarks, as containing hidden messages that reference the Grail. Freemasonry's focus on enlightenment and the pursuit of higher truths aligns with the idea that they could be protecting a spiritual or intellectual aspect of the Grail beyond its physical existence. The Priory of Sion, popularized by books like Holy Blood, Holy Grail, and the Da Vinci Code, is another key player in Grail lore. This shadowy group is alleged to have guarded the secret of Jesus Christ's bloodline, the alternative Grail theory, throughout history. The priory is said to have included influential figures such as Leonardo da Vinci and Isaac Newton, who allegedly used their work to encode clues about the Grail. While many aspects of the priory's existence remain contentious, conspiracy theorists see its alleged involvement as further evidence of a centuries-long cover-up. The secretive behavior of these groups lends itself to the idea that they are custodians of profound truths about the Grail. Theories often cite cryptic symbols and documents as evidence. For example, the mysterious Rennes-le-Château in France, linked to both Templar and Priory legends, is thought by some to contain coded messages pointing to the Grail's location. Additionally, ancient manuscripts and artwork containing subtle allusions to the Grail are interpreted as proof that these societies have been communicating its secrets covertly. The veil of secrecy surrounding these organizations, their rumored connections to powerful figures, and their historical roles in events of great significance suggest a deliberate effort to obscure the Grail's true nature. Whether as a sacred relic, hidden knowledge, or a divine bloodline, the idea of secret societies safeguarding the Grail continues to captivate the imagination of conspiracy theorists worldwide. Compelling dimension of Holy Grail conspiracy theories involves its connection to ancient pagan traditions and the possibility that it predates Christianity entirely. Some theorists argue that the Grail represents a reimagining or incorporation of much older myths, symbols, and spiritual practices. This perspective ties the Grail to fertility rites, goddess worship, and the veneration of sacred vessels found in pre-Christian European and Middle Eastern cultures. One prominent theory suggests that the Grail is rooted in Celtic mythology, where sacred cauldrons were often depicted as sources of abundance, healing, and resurrection. The Cauldron of Dagda, for example, is a central artifact in Irish lore, said to provide endless sustenance and restore life to the dead. Similarly, the Welsh tale of the Cauldron of Annwn describes a magical vessel capable of granting wisdom and transforming the fate of those who possess it. These parallels lead some theorists to propose that early Christian missionaries adapted such stories to align with their own religious narratives, turning a pagan symbol into the Grail of Christian lore. Further evidence of the Grail's pagan origins can be found in the enduring motif of the divine feminine. Many conspiracy theorists suggest that the Grail represents not a physical object, but the sacred feminine itself, a concept marginalized by patriarchal religious systems. This theory aligns with the idea of the Grail as the womb of Mary Magdalene, symbolic of divine creativity and the continuation of a holy bloodline. It also resonates with ancient goddess worship, where vessels and chalices often symbolized fertility, life, and the cyclical nature of existence. The role of sacred springs and wells in pre-Christian Europe also intersects with Grail lore. Many pagan cultures regarded water sources as sites of spiritual power, linked to healing and divine inspiration. Over time, these traditions were Christianized, with wells and springs being rededicated to saints or incorporated into Grail legends. The association of the Grail with purity and life-giving water reflects this transition, suggesting that the Grail may be a Christianized echo of ancient rituals surrounding water's sacred role. Another intriguing element is the Arthurian legend's integration of the Grail into the quest for spiritual enlightenment and heroism. Conspiracy theorists often highlight that these tales are rife with pagan symbolism, from the mysterious Fisher King's connection to fertility cycles, to the knights' transformative journeys reflecting shamanic or initiatory traditions. They propose that these narratives encode deeper truths about ancient spiritual practices, hidden beneath a veneer of Christian storytelling. Artifacts and symbols found in archaeological records are often cited as evidence for this theory. For instance, carvings of chalices and vessels on prehistoric stones, or the presence of cauldron-like objects in Bronze and Iron Age burial sites, are seen as precursors to the Grail's depiction in medieval literature. Additionally, the Grail's enduring allure in regions with strong pagan heritage, such as Brittany and Scotland, reinforces the idea of its ancient pre-Christian roots. By tracing the Grail back to these older traditions, conspiracy theorists argue that its true significance lies in its role as a bridge between humanity's spiritual past and the religious structures that emerged to replace it. This perspective not only deepens the mystery of the Grail, but also suggests that its secrets hold the key to understanding humanity's ancient quest for the divine. The search for the Holy Grail has often been intertwined with secret locations and hidden maps, leading conspiracy theorists to speculate on the specific sites where the Grail might be concealed. These theories suggest that the Grail could reside in remote monasteries, ancient ruins, or secret chambers, its location encoded in cryptic texts or symbols meant to obscure its whereabouts from all but the most enlightened seekers. One of the most enduring claims is that the Grail is hidden within Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland. Built in the 15th century by the Sinclair family, the chapel is a masterpiece of intricate carvings and mysterious symbols. Conspiracy theorists often point to the chapel's association with the Knights Templar and its supposed role as a repository for their treasures. Certain carvings, such as those of vegetation resembling American maize and aloe vera, plants not known to Europeans at the time of the chapel's construction, are seen as evidence of hidden knowledge, potentially linked to the Grail. Theorists argue that secret crypts beneath the chapel may hold the Grail, shielded by generations of guardians sworn to secrecy. Another rumored hiding place is the Montségur fortress in southern France. This stronghold was a key site for the Cathars, a Christian sect considered heretical by the Catholic Church. The Cathars are often linked to the Grail in conspiracy theories, with some suggesting that their teachings contained esoteric truths about the Grail's nature. In 1244, after the fall of Montségur to a crusading army, it is said that Cathar loyalists smuggled their greatest treasure to safety, potentially the Holy Grail. The remote and treacherous Pyrenean landscape surrounding the fortress lends credibility to the idea of a hidden relic yet to be discovered. Another compelling theory places the Grail in Glastonbury, England, a town steeped in mythological and spiritual significance. Glastonbury Tor, an iconic hill overlooking the town, is often associated with Avalon, the legendary island connected to King Arthur. Theorists propose that the Grail could have been brought to Glastonbury by Joseph of Arimathea, who, according to lore, also established the first Christian church in Britain there. The Chalice Well, a natural spring at the foot of the Tor, is another focal point for Grail seekers, its water said to possess healing properties. Texts and documents often provide clues that bolster these theories. For example, medieval Grail romances describe enigmatic locales like the Castle of the Fisher King or Perilous Chapel, which many believe refer to real-world sites. The Codex Calixtinus, a 12th century manuscript detailing the pilgrimage route to Santiago de Compostela in Spain, includes cryptic references to sacred relics along the way, leading some to suspect the Grail might have been hidden in one of the ancient monasteries on this route. Evidence supporting these claims includes reports of hidden chambers, magnetic anomalies detected by modern technology, and archaeological findings consistent with the timelines of Grail legends. These elements feed the ongoing belief that the Grail remains hidden, its discovery awaiting those capable of deciphering the esoteric clues left behind by its secretive custodians. Each proposed location deepens the mystery, ensuring the Grail continues to captivate the imagination of seekers worldwide. Another compelling dimension of Holy Grail conspiracy theories is the suggestion that the Grail is not a physical object at all, but a collection of profound spiritual truths or esoteric knowledge, deliberately hidden from the public and guarded by secretive organizations. This theory proposes that the Grail represents enlightenment, divine wisdom, or the ultimate understanding of the universe, encoded in symbols, texts, or rituals accessible only to a chosen few. Many proponents of this idea link the Grail to the Gnostic tradition, an ancient belief system that emphasizes direct, mystical knowledge of God over dogmatic adherence to institutional religion. Gnostic texts such as the Nag Hammadi scriptures describe the pursuit of hidden truths and the uncovering of divine knowledge as central to spiritual liberation. Conspiracy theorists often suggest that these Gnostic ideals influenced early Grail legends, transforming the Grail into a metaphorical vessel of divine wisdom, accessible to those who achieve spiritual awakening. This concept intersects with the idea of the Grail as the philosopher's stone, a legendary object in alchemy believed to grant immortality and ultimate knowledge. Alchemists, particularly during the Renaissance, were often accused of heresy due to their pursuit of esoteric truths that contradicted orthodox religious teachings. Theorists argue that references to the Grail in medieval texts might conceal alchemical formulas or metaphysical principles, encoded to protect these secrets from persecution. The connection between the Grail and secret societies, such as the Freemasons and the Rosicrucians, further supports this theory. Both groups are steeped in esoteric traditions and symbols, and their rituals often reference hidden knowledge and spiritual transformation. Some conspiracy theorists believe that these organizations were founded or influenced by earlier groups, such as the Cathars or the Knights Templar, to preserve the Grail's true nature as a repository of cosmic wisdom. The idea of the Grail as spiritual enlightenment also finds support in the narratives of Arthurian legend. The quest for the Grail, as described in medieval romances, often mirrors the hero's inner journey of purification, transformation, and transcendence. Characters like Sir Galahad achieve the Grail only after demonstrating unwavering virtue and spiritual readiness, reinforcing the idea that the Grail symbolizes personal and divine awakening, rather than a tangible artifact. Evidence for this theory includes the cryptic language and allegorical content found in many Grail texts. Works like Parzival by Wolfram von Eschenbach and Le Morte d'Arthur by Sir Thomas Malory are filled with symbolic imagery, often interpreted by theorists as veiled references to hidden truths. Additionally, historical accounts of secretive groups safeguarding knowledge add credibility to the idea of a hidden Grail tradition. The enduring appeal of this perspective lies in its universality. If the Grail represents enlightenment or cosmic understanding, its significance transcends religion, culture, and time. It transforms the Grail legend from a quest for an elusive relic into a call for spiritual growth and the uncovering of hidden wisdom, ensuring its place at the heart of humanity's search for meaning. Another intriguing angle within Holy Grail conspiracy theories is the belief that the Grail's true essence is tied to ancient extraterrestrial influence. This theory posits that the Grail, whether as a physical object or a metaphor for advanced knowledge, was a gift or remnant left by alien visitors who interacted with humanity in the distant past. Such theories blend religious legend with speculative science, offering an alternative explanation for the Grail's mystical properties and its central role in various traditions. Proponents of this theory often connect the Grail to the concept of ancient astronauts, a hypothesis suggesting that extraterrestrial beings visited Earth in antiquity, imparting wisdom, technology, or genetic material to early civilizations. The Grail, in this context, could represent advanced alien technology misunderstood by medieval cultures and shrouded in spiritual allegory. The idea aligns with interpretations of biblical and apocryphal texts that describe divine encounters as extraterrestrial interventions. For instance, the miracles associated with the Grail, such as its ability to heal or sustain life, could be reinterpreted as manifestations of advanced biotechnology. Artifacts and legends from disparate cultures are frequently cited as supporting evidence for this theory. For example, conspiracy theorists point to the Ark of the Covenant, another enigmatic religious artifact, as possibly linked to the Grail or sharing a similar extraterrestrial origin. The Ark, described in the Bible as having tremendous power, is seen by some as evidence that alien technology was preserved and revered by ancient peoples. This connection suggests that the Grail, like the Ark, might be a fragment of advanced technology left behind by a superior civilization. Theories about extraterrestrial involvement are also bolstered by the universal appeal of the Grail narrative across cultures. Grail-like stories appear in ancient myths and legends worldwide, often featuring sacred objects with extraordinary powers. In Hindu mythology, the Soma drink is said to grant immortality, while Norse legend speaks of a cauldron of infinite bounty. These parallels fuel speculation that all these myths could stem from a common source: alien visitors who spread their knowledge and artifacts across early human societies. Cryptic historical texts are often cited as further evidence. For instance, Wolfram von Eschenbach's Parzival introduces the idea of the Grail as a stone from heaven, interpreted by some conspiracy theorists as a meteorite or extraterrestrial artifact. Theorists argue that Eschenbach's description may hint at advanced knowledge hidden within medieval Christian symbolism, passed down through secretive channels to preserve its otherworldly origins. Additional support for this perspective comes from modern discoveries of unusual celestial materials. Rare metals found in meteorites, like iridium or exotic alloys, could have inspired ancient legends about miraculous objects. Theorists suggest that a Grail-like object composed of such materials could explain the mystical attributes ascribed to it in legend. The extraterrestrial theory reframes the Grail as not just a relic of human faith, but a tangible link to cosmic origins and advanced beings. By situating the Grail within a broader narrative of alien contact, this interpretation opens new possibilities for understanding humanity's past and its enduring fascination with the Grail's mystery. An often overlooked but fascinating aspect of Holy Grail conspiracy theories is its potential connection to the lost continent of Atlantis. This theory suggests that the Grail is a relic or repository of knowledge from Atlantis, a highly advanced civilization said to have existed thousands of years ago before being destroyed in a cataclysmic event. Advocates of this theory argue that the Grail's miraculous properties and association with divine wisdom could stem from Atlantean technology or spiritual practices preserved by select survivors. Atlantis, first described in Plato's dialogues Timaeus and Critias, is said to have been a utopian society that possessed advanced technology and profound knowledge far beyond what ancient cultures could achieve. Conspiracy theorists propose that the destruction of Atlantis scattered its survivors, who carried fragments of their civilization's achievements to other parts of the world. In this narrative, the Grail emerges as either a physical artifact from Atlantis, such as a device, crystal, or sacred object, or a symbolic vessel of the Atlantean spiritual teachings. Supporters of this theory point to supposed connections between Atlantean lore and the origins of European mysticism, particularly through the Druids, Celts, and other ancient societies linked to Grail legends. It is argued that survivors of Atlantis may have settled in regions like Western Europe and influenced the myths that eventually became the foundation of the Grail stories. Stonehenge, for instance, is often cited as an example of advanced ancient knowledge, which some claim has parallels to Atlantean architecture and astronomical precision. The idea of the Grail as a remnant of Atlantean technology also aligns with the narrative of lost energy sources, purportedly possessed by the Atlanteans. Theorists suggest that the Grail could have been a power source or energy device, misunderstood and mythologized over time. Some believe that this technology was so powerful that it led to Atlantis' downfall, and its existence has since been deliberately obscured to prevent humanity from repeating such a catastrophe. There are also symbolic ties between the Grail quest and the search for Atlantis. Both narratives emphasize the pursuit of lost or hidden wisdom and the transformation of those who seek it. In medieval Grail romances, knights must demonstrate virtue and spiritual readiness to achieve the Grail. Similarly, explorers and scholars who search for Atlantis are often depicted as seeking enlightenment, not merely physical evidence of its existence. This duality reinforces the idea that the Grail and Atlantis are part of the same archetypal story, the recovery of lost knowledge that could reshape humanity's understanding of itself. As evidence, proponents point to recurring themes of floods and cataclysms in myths worldwide, from the biblical flood to ancient Hindu texts like the Mahabharata. These stories could allude to the same real-world disaster that destroyed Atlantis, with the Grail representing a beacon of hope or survival from that era. The Atlantean connection paints the Grail not just as a religious artifact, but as a link to a forgotten epoch of human potential, its secrets waiting to be rediscovered. Thanks for listening to the Conspiracy Files podcast. We're here with new episodes every Wednesday. Be sure to check us out on Instagram at the Conspiracy Files podcast. And if you're listening on Spotify, swipe up and share your thoughts, or email us at contact@theconspiracyfilespodcast.com. Until next time, and remember, the truth is out there.